Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more interesting stories like these. Now, let's get into today's story video. AITA telling the truth in the wedding toast. In my 30s, I'm a married man who just celebrated the wedding of my closest buddy. I had just purchased a home, and my wife is expecting our son in November. So I informed him that I was constrained in my ability to make a financial contribution, but that I would do my best to make up for it. As a result, I traveled to Maine for the bachelor party, rented a tux, and covered the cost of my wife and my supper at the rehearsal dinner for us. I also had a present for them in the amount of $300 that I intended to give them, but we'll get to that later when we discuss why I didn't give it to them. It was great with me if his, now wife, then fiancé, contacted me numerous times a day with updates. I wasn't always quick to react, and it came to the point where if I didn't respond at least once a day, I'd receive a call from my friend, who was frustrated. The fact that I have a full-time job and I'm renovating certain rooms in my home means that my time is limited. She texted me for a variety of reasons, including the following. My wife was not permitted to speak about our pregnancy in any way, shape, or form. She didn't want anybody else to be more focused on it than she was, the bride. She had made it clear that she would not be ordering special cuisine for my wife. No one asked her to. My wife was fine with whatever she was going to be served. According to her, I wasn't doing enough to assist the groom. He needed to assist her with favors, seating charts, and programs. Therefore, I needed to assist him with those tasks as well. She also said that she would be available to assist with thank you cards after the wedding. She said that if I was a genuine best man, I would offer to cover the cost of the bar tab. I have absolutely no idea what it implies. She had to read and approve my speech before to the rehearsal dinner, and she wanted to be included in the festivities just as much as my pal. She instructed me to make up stories if necessary. I was also not permitted to involve anybody other than the two of them, and I was not permitted to tell any inside jokes or anecdotes about my friend that did not include her. Her final text instructed me to remind my wife to maintain her composure and avoid making a disturbance at the wedding reception. Additionally, she desired that she chose an outfit that would as little as possible draw attention to her pregnancy. I was simply so enraged that I called a buddy to see if he could help me reason with her. He did. He urged me to simply go with the flow on this one, since it was her day, and to give him a break because he'd be dealing with her for the rest of his life if I did nothing. I was irritated at the time, but I eventually cooled down. On the day of the wedding, all the bride and my best friend do is chastise me, berate me, and yell instructions in my head. While I'm down at the bar getting a drink, I run into the bride and her mother, who begs me not to get too drunk since I've already destroyed her daughter's special day. The last straw. When they asked for the cash, I didn't give them the card, and, in my speech, I used the identical words that my buddy used to describe having to live with her for the rest of his life. I wished them the best of luck and assured him that I would be there for him at all times, particularly through the divorce. AITA, Story 2. AITA for not wanting to change my name and asking fiancé to change hers. The last 3.5 years have been spent with my fiancé, 24 years old, who is also 27 years old. We have an extraordinarily wonderful relationship, and I can't imagine my life without her in it. Despite this, we have had difficulties settling this disagreement, which is why I posted here on her advice. The topic of marriage and what it would look like has come up more and more recently in our conversations. For me, one of the most important aspects of marriage is becoming family with each other. Includes adopting each other's last name. When I think of being linked with her in that way, I get immensely glad and thrilled, as if we are a legitimate couple that the whole world should recognize. She, on the other hand, prefers to keep her last name, since she feels it would be to have to change it. I believe that's a wonderful thing, but I'm the only guy on my mother's side of the family who might potentially carry on the family name. I have 2 sisters who are already married, so it's really just me and my mother left. It's a really unusual given name, not one like Johnson or Smith, for example. As a result, if I do not carry on the family name and pass it on to our children, it will be lost forever. I was told by my fiancée that she didn't care about matching our names and that I could change my name to hers so that we would match or that we could both keep our own last names until we were married. It is because she has a brother that her family name will be handed on in any case. Thus, it differs from mine, and I believe she should negotiate with me in order to have her name changed. For not wishing to alter my family name and instead requesting her to change hers, am I considered AITA? ETA. I'm getting some questions about whether or not we should hyphenate our names. I'm prepared to do so, but she is not. She does not want to change her last name at all owing to the of doing so. So she basically says I must either adopt her name or accept that we will have different last names. Aside from that, some pundits are stating that this is my hill to die on. It's not, or I wouldn't be posting here. It's just that my fiancé and I are having issues settling a situation, and we wanted to seek some opinions from others. I'm not going to / can't force her to do anything, and she knows it. At a #2. It's difficult to keep up with all of the comments, but I'm reading them all, and my fiancé is as well. She seems to be enjoying herself, which makes me happy, but I want to address a few of additional concerns that have arisen. We spoke about it and agreed that it was fine with us if the kids took my last name. She is still considering it, but she may choose to use my last name socially while keeping her given name legally so that she does not have to deal with the difficulties, but we will still have a combined name. Due to a violation of Rule 3, this entry was removed. Update. It was really difficult for me to read literally hundreds of messages in which I was referred to as in. Although I did lose my cool for a little moment. Thank you to the moderators for not banning me for my outburst, even though it would have been appropriate. Shout out to the mods for not perma-banning me for my tantrum, even though it would have been fair. However, my wife and I went through each and every comment together and had a thorough discussion about everything. I had not considered the patriarchal / historical implications of asking a woman to take a man's name and give up her own before posing this question. To be honest, it's not something I'd been exposed to much before. It turned out that this had been going on in the background for my wife and was causing her distress, but she wasn't fully aware of it, much less able to articulate her feelings to me about it. So it wasn't only about the paperwork and inconvenience of changing her name that she was apprehensive. She was also apprehensive because she felt odd about changing her name. I had no idea she was feeling that way, and I was pleased that some individuals gave her the vocabulary to be able to talk about it with me in detail. As part of our strategy for resolving this problem, we conducted 23andMe testing and created family trees, which were both successful. This turned out to be a really enjoyable experience, and we both learned some amazing family stories and tidbits from our relatives. I would strongly advise other couples to give it a go as well. We both feel much more connected to our personal histories, and as a result to our last names now than we did before. And it was very significant for me to link our trees together because it gave me the sense of romantic connection I was looking for that I was able to achieve with the names. What was the final outcome? We were legally married 2 weeks ago, but we did not get a formal name change. We're thinking of hyphenating our names in the future. Who knows? In the meanwhile, we are both enjoying the novelty of our marriage and do not feel obligated to do anything immediately. In the event that we are blessed with any children, we will also give them hyphenated names. I am thrilled to be married to the love of my life, even though we are not yet a matching Mr. and Mrs. for the time being. I would still want to be someday, but if we do, the trouble of changing our names will be something we all have to deal with rather than something that is unfairly burdensome on each of us. Most importantly, this event has had a significant impact on the way my wife and I deal with disputes or conflicts when we are together. Everything is done gradually, with kindness and without prejudices, until we are able to understand one another, and that has been the most pleasant thing to come out of this whole process. So even though I didn't plan to say it, I'd want to express my gratitude to everyone who called me in a few months ago. My wife would want to express her gratitude as well.